Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another video. Today, I'm celebrating 4 years on YouTube. This is a time for real celebration. And I would like to thank you all because you've been with me for 4 long years. Now, some of you might look at my numbers and say 4 years on YouTube and only 12,500. I think it's a huge number. Reason being, the kind of reviews I do, first of all, I only do reviews of fragrances that I really like, because what's the point in doing reviews of fragrances that I really don't like? And thankfully I don't get many free bottles, so I'm not obliged to do a review in case I don't want to review a fragrance. The other one, the reason is I'm not a person who is in the game for compliments or for free bottles or full bottles. So you'll see that I do a lot of reviews from decants and still I get views. The reason is you are exactly like me. We both, 12,500 and me, are exactly the same. We are in the game because we are passionate about fragrances. And that's the whole point, that if you see majority of my videos are full reviews. I don't do lists, not too many lists. Otherwise, I would have had at least 5,000 more, because I can do list after list after list, but the whole fragcom is absolutely up till here, till their eyeballs on lists. Because there's some reviewers who just do lists, meaningless lists. I don't want to do that. That's not my objective. My objective is to let you know about amazing fragrances. And fortunately, I've got outstanding subscribers like you. All my subscribers never put anything meaningless in my comments. You know, they're always well informed, and that's such a fantastic company to have. I really like those comments. So thank you once again. And I wanted to do a list, and again, not a meaningless but a meaningful list. Since it's about 4 years on completing 4 years on YouTube, I want to do a list whereby what are the fragrances that I really recommend? And there are 15 of them. These are the ones I really recommend to people, depending on their age and their purpose. But these tend to come up more and more. And these are the designers. I've removed the niche, I've removed the cheapies, I've removed the Middle Eastern. These are pure designer fragrances. I'll do a separate list for niche, and I'll do a separate list for Middle Eastern cheapies, if you like. So, without much of a delay, let's start. So when somebody comes, and mostly youngsters, when they come to me and ask me for a fragrance that is an attention grabber, especially for clubbing, I tend to go for a couple of fragrances. One of them is an unsung hero. It is HM EDP by Hanae Mori. Now this is a sweet fragrance centered around lemony, chocolatey, fougere-like base. So it's very green in the base. It's got oak moss as well, I believe. Slightly woody, but very, very attractive. And that's why I recommend this, because this has this uncanny sort of a uncommon sort of a scent, which tends to pull people towards them. And it has a tremendous amount of projection and performance. Done a full review. I think every fragrance in this list has been reviewed by myself, full review. So if you are curious, check it out. If you're just starting off your journey, or you are one of those people who likes their fragrances to project a lot and last a long time, tremendous performance and not cost too much money, you couldn't do better than this. Hanae Mori HM EDP. So that's the first thing I do when a youngster comes to me. Again, next one is the same. You know, when a youngster comes to me and say, I want a really attractive and very stylish kind of a fragrance, I generally tend to go for this one. This one is Dolce Gabbana, the 1 EDP. Now this one doesn't have the kind of performance that HM has, but still it's a very attractive fragrance. Now this one is centered around beautiful aromatic spices and tobacco. It's a very warm fragrance, so ideal to wear it in autumn, or if you live in a cold country, you can pull this off as long as it's not 25 degrees and over. So this is very warm, attractive, stylish, cuddly kind of a scent, and it's great for people who are just starting on the journey or early 20s. You know, if you're a 20-year-old boy and you just have one girlfriend and you want to really impress her, my God, this is a very impressive fragrance. Try this out, yeah? Dolce Gabbana, the 1 EDP. Excellent, excellent fragrance. Very, very cozy, comfortable, attractive. Those are the words that come to mind. Next one is basically a masculine, yeah, very stylish masculine, and it's very hard to get hold of in some parts of the world. But when somebody comes and asks me that I want something which is a statement maker and also modern, that's when I recommend this, which is Dior Homme Parfum. This is not available very readily in the United States, as per my understanding from your comments, but all across the globe, this is absolutely stunning statement maker. I've only till date received one comment from one of my subscribers who said that this went girly on him. I could not believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe. This is one of the most amazing leather, oud and iris, lipsticky iris combination you can get. It's basically the Dior Homme DNA transformed into a very confident, muscular, highly strung, if I can use that word, kind of a aloof sort of a man. That's the kind of fragrance this is. So this is a proper statement maker, very modern. You have to be well dressed. Dior Homme Parfum. Now, if you can't find this, Dior Homme Intense is equally fantastic. Next on my list is a fragrance which is a budget fragrance. And sometimes people come and ask me, give me a fragrance which is basically slightly complex, reminds me of a certain fragrance. Yeah, because they've heard it's one of the best designers ever made. So this is a Lalique, and it's Encre Noire à l'extrême. Now this one is compared to Gucci Prada, which is considered by many as one of the best designer fragrances ever made. Sadly, you can't get hold of it anymore. And even if you do, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. This one is. And I used to own, and foolishly I spent my Gucci Prada. It was one of my favorite fragrances ever. So this one is a resinous, sweet incense combined with vetiver and slightly dark, mysterious side to it. But there are many aspects to this fragrance. Again, fit for autumn or cool-ish weather. It's a slightly brooding, slightly serious fragrance. But every time you wear this fragrance, it opens the door to something new. There's a discovery happening every time you wear this. But the problem is that when you buy this fragrance, you might observe that this fragrance doesn't have any performance. It just is a skin scent. The fragrance takes a bit of time to macerate in the bottle. And it happened to me. I left it for 6 months. I was quite disappointed. So after 6 months, I realized that the performance of this fragrance started to improve. And it was basically one of those fragrances that took its time to sort of mature in the bottle. So keep that in mind. Very studious, kind of a serious sort of fragrance, but very interesting fragrance. So next on my list is a de facto office scent. When somebody comes and says to me, I want something which is extremely easy to wear, quite professional and very easy to like, I always recommend this. This is Danielle Icon. Everybody in the fragrance game knows that this is one of my favorite fragrances. Doesn't cost a lot of money. And every time I sniff this, I feel happy. This is basically an aquatic, citrusy, spicy fragrance. So the spices are cardamom, very nice cardamom. Along with that, the aquatic tone, it's very fluidy. That's why it's very suitable to wear to office. And then there is this beautiful Neroli, orange blossom rather, I think both. So it has clean sheet smell. It has a beautiful cardamom and has this aquatic feel to it. It's a masterfully made fragrance. That's just amazing. You know, if you're looking for a good office scent to impress people, don't go too heavy because it projects a lot. So if you work in a conservative work environment, you might want to be a little bit careful with the number of sprays. Yeah. Next on my list is a fragrance, again, which is a very versatile fragrance, more suitable for hot weather, but it's very stylish and an absolute compliment magnet. So if those are your requirements, you cannot be without this fragrance in your collection. It is Prada L Homme L. Now this fragrance is around iris, soapy iris. And it's exactly that. It's a beautiful soapy iris with some powderiness and some woodiness thrown about. But what a gorgeous fragrance this is. Absolutely stunning, you know. In summer months, if you live in a hot country, bring this out. It's very unisex. You bring this out. And if you're wearing a white shirt to office and you really work in a decent work environment, my God, Low is a blockbuster of a fragrance. It'll not offend anybody and you will get a compliment for sure. Low is unbeatable when it comes to compliments, you know. People are bound to compliment you. It smells amazing, you know, and also not very common. You don't get to smell these sort of fragrances very often. And Prada does soapy fragrances beautifully. Next on my list is a complex fragrance. Now, a lot of my subscribers have grown with me. Yeah, for the last 4 years, I've exposed you all to different types of nuances. And Guerlain is a house that a lot of people have grown into because of my channel. And they've joined me because I review so many Guerlain fragrances. Now, this one probably is one of the best designer Guerlain fragrances. This is Heritage EDP. Now, this fragrance I recommend to people who have a little bit of an experience and also have fine taste. This is about fine taste. You know, this fragrance is basically a patchouli based fragrance, spicy, earthy, with a creamy sandalwood and tons of notes. I think there are 27 notes in this fragrance. So this fragrance, some people, and all these fragrances, if you do go and watch their full reviews, you will see the comments. So you can really judge how much this fragrance works. All these fragrances work. Absolutely amazing fragrance. But this is a mature fragrance. This is not for a person who's just starting off. Or this is not for a person who is a newbie, you know, just 20-year-old. This will not work. It's probably for a 30-year-old, 30 plus. Or if you're experienced, you could be a 20-year-old with tons of experience. This is a very, very complex fragrance. And it's absolutely amazing. Niche quality, basically. Heritage EDP by Guerlain. And the next one is a sexy fragrance. And sometimes people just come and ask me, you know, I'm going for a date and I really want to wear something which is drop dead sexy. You know, that's when I recommend this. What an amazing fragrance this is. Costume National Soul. This is around amber. And amber is perfect for date nights. You know, this one has a stunning note of amber. It's bright. And that's the thing. Amber normally tends to be slightly broody, slightly heavy, or oriental style. This is a vibrant, sort of a, translucent kind of an amber with oud. And it's just sexy. It's gorgeous. It's unique as well. And that's what gets people, especially women. They're not used to this kind of smell. And suddenly they smell it on you and you're just going past them and they go, wow, okay, that's a great fragrance. That's the kind of reaction you'll get. And this is for people who really like to sort of show off a bit. This is a very show-offy kind of a scent. I wouldn't wear this to work. It's a very show-offy scent, yeah? You have to be in that kind of a mood. Next on my list is another Guerlain. And this is a classical Guerlain. People who like leather fragrances or people who like classical vintage style fragrances, that's when I recommend this. It's one of the finest leather fragrances. It is Avitar Rouge EDT. There's so many people, if you go on Fragcoms and review sites, there's so many people who have started their journey with this fragrance. It's a legendary fragrance. Excuse me, one sniff takes me back. I reviewed this fragrance about 4 years ago. One sniff takes me back to the days when I actually reviewed this fragrance. That's how vivid the memories are. Because, my God, this is amazing. This is a lemony, barbershop style leather fragrance. One of the finest leather notes, one of the most distinct leather notes you'll ever smell in designer game. And I recommend this to people who really like, classical vibe fragrances, people who can understand and appreciate a leather fragrance. This is not for people who like modern fragrances, because they might find this dated. And, I've received 1 or 2 bad comments in my entire lifetime of having used this fragrance for more than 15 years. Yeah, that's how rare it is. Or maybe people were just being polite. I don't know. I love this fragrance. And, you should try this fragrance if you haven't. Next on my list is a barbershop fragrance with a lot of resinous quality. Now, barbershop fragrances, they're very sharp. And when you smell them, the sharp barbershop fragrance reminds you or tends to remind you of the 70s. Yeah, especially they have this lemony quality which reminds them of a detergent, that sort of thing. This one is unique, and this is probably one of the finest barbershop fragrances ever made. It's Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. Now Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum has been reformulated, and the reformulated version is even nicer. This one is very dear to me because of use of myrrh. Myrrh has this resinous, earthy, sort of a dry fruit-like smell, which I tend to like a lot. I tend to like fragrances with myrrh quite a lot. But apart from that, this is just a stunning, outstanding barbershop fragrance. Period. You know, if you don't get hold of this, try to get hold of the 2017 version. That's equally nice. It's more lemony, but it's still resinous because it's got a note of elemi. It's really nice. But again, for people who have a little bit of experience. So guys, 10 gone, 5 to come. Next on my list is again a leather fragrance with vetiver. Now this fragrance, when people actually go and try it after my recommendation have come back and said that this is one of the most amazing fragrances I've ever smelled. I've heard this many times, and it is Hermes Belami vetiver. This thing is unbeatable, unmatched. It's basically a revision of an old fragrance which was Belami, and this has got a dry fruit-like note, a fantastic, amazing Hermes style leather with vetiver and lemoniness. But it's so beautifully blended and it's so beautifully constructed. When you actually spray it, you realize you're wearing something which is unmatched in quality, style and smell. This is for people who like classy fragrances, people who really know their game, and people know their preferences. That's the kind of fragrance this is. You're very confident men, again 30 plus, you know. Belami vetiver is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But if you're just starting off your game, it might not be the best choice for you. Next on my list is a fragrance that was released in 2002, and it coincided with our Queen's Golden Jubilee, and it's a very English style fragrance. It is Geo F. Trumper Sandwood Cologne. Now Sandwood Cologne is very English style. It's very watery, sharp and traditional in smell. So this is rose and sandalwood, again coupled with many notes in the middle. Cinnamon I think is in the middle, and along with that there's cedar. So it's a very woody, rosy sandalwood. And to be frank with you, this is one of the most amazing, affordable sandalwood fragrances you can buy. Trust me. You know, sandalwood is expensive, but sandalwood cologne, if you can get your hand on this and you want to wear this to work or an interview, you will impress one and all. The trick is not to wear it too heavy. I recommend this to people who have a sense of style, who like very expensive fragrances and would like to try something on budget. That's where this comes into play. Sandwood Cologne, unbeatable in terms of quality and value for money. Absolutely amazing. I reviewed this again 4 years ago. Very early reviews. Check it out. May not be the best quality in terms of audio or video, but the content is perfect, and that's what has been my motto. Keep the content absolutely real McCoy. So next on my list is a fragrance which I made famous because it was basically a fragrance which women love. Now I made it famous in the FragCom because I gave it a new perspective, especially to my subscribers. It is a Guerlain, and it is Shalimar, and it's EDP. Now this fragrance has been abandoned by women because this is very classy, kind of a classic women's fragrance, very animalic, ambery vanilla, right? Now it needs a special kind of, a specific kind of a woman to really pull this off. It's too much in style for modern women, especially looking at the new Guerlain like More Guerlain or other fragrances like Decadence and stuff like that. This is a slight oddity. But if a man wears this, my God, this is slightly animalic as well. So it's a dirty vanilla with an animalic aspect and amber. And I've done a full review. It's one of my longest reviews, and it's a very romantic review because I genuinely love this fragrance. It's one of the greatest fragrances ever made, full stop. However many I've sampled, I seldom come across a fragrance that completely takes over me. It's a historical artifact, and I wouldn't spend too much time because I've already done a big review of this. But this is a fragrance I would recommend to people who are looking for Orientals, who have a lot of experience and who are open-minded. Some people wouldn't even touch this because this is released for women. Try it. See, daisy. Almost broke the bottle. Next on my list is a fragrance that is niche quality on budget prices. And it's a tobacco and leather fragrance, and there are many tobacco and leather fragrances, but this one is unbeatable. It is Bulgari Man in Black, one of the finest execution of tobacco note. Such a beautiful fragrance this is. Spicy, woody, leathery tobacco. If you live in a country where it's cold most of the time, try to pull this off. Try to wear this fragrance. What a beautiful fragrance this is, Bulgari Man in Black is just perfection. Alberto Morillas, I think probably one of his best works after Acqua di Gio. This fragrance is unbeatable for any age group. As long as you like those notes, leather, tobacco, wood, spices, it's just stunning. It's very mysterious as well. So if you're looking for a nice date night, first date fragrance, and you live in a cold country, even in a hot country, if you're going to an air-conditioned restaurant and you want to really leave an impact with the choice of your fragrance, Man in Black. What a beautiful fragrance, So 14 done, last one to come. This fragrance is hands down my most favorite recommendation to people, because whenever I recommend this to people, people come back and tell me that I was absolutely spot on. Well, I'm always spot on. And I'm saying this with a little bit of humility. I try to give you the best choices. I never try to give you a rubbish choice. If a fragrance is rubbish, I don't review it. Full stop. So this fragrance is my most successful recommendation to almost anybody. And the proof is you should see the full review of this fragrance. It is Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extrême. A foot-long name, but the fragrance is absolutely amazing. Most suited for hot weather. You put this on, you feel special, first of all. Number two, your friends will want to be close to you because you smell amazing. If you're with a girl, you'll definitely get a compliment. If you're going for an interview, wear it right, you leave an amazing impression. This is a fragrance that casts a tremendous impression of people's minds, hearts. It's a stunning fragrance. It's a huge compliment magnet. Expensive, but amazing. So, those are the 15 fragrances I recommend. And you must have known this if you've been following me for a long time. But if you're new to the channel and you're hoping to get one great recommendation, pick any. You will not be dissatisfied. Hope you enjoy the review. Take care. Bye-bye.